Hello and welcome back to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide video. My name's Bart and today I'll be taking you around the Portimao circuit in the FIA4 car on iRacing. Here's the hot lap. All right, heading down the hill now, first corner at Algarve International Circuit or Portimao. Braking zone here. Again, we have these fantastic little white lines that represent the braking markers. So it's easy for us to see where we want to be braking. So we will be braking at the correct point, yes. Okay, so here, braking is the first corner now. Quite a tricky corner. Really important here to just focus on, I think, mainly carrying speed. That's probably the biggest thing here. To be honest, it's a corner to easily get wrong and lock up and run wide. The braking zone is quite tricky here as well. And you've got to be braking around here. Just off the 100-meter board, you can see. Just going over to the left-hand side here. And be careful because I know I said before, previously I was braking inside the curb here. I actually think it is faster just because the amount it opens up the corner to run your left tire over the curbing here. Just be really careful. So you'll see in a second, I hit my peak pressure when my left tire is over here, my right tire is here. So my tires are not on the curb because that's where we lock up and have it. We hit peak pressure off it, and then as I bleed off, I go over the curb, which still unsettles it a bit, but it's not lock up massively. You can see I hit the brake really hard. See, it's uphill here, so you can smash the brake pedal because gravity is helping us. We've got a lot of air on the car. We're at a very high speed, as high speed as you're going to get in this car, pretty much. So you can really punish the brake pedal. If anything, you see I hit it actually harder as I go into the hill. Short and then off. So you got to drop that brake pressure. Don't expect to be able to hold that brake pressure as you turn in and go over the curb. Quickly drop that brake pressure once you get the brake. You can see the car wants to snap a little bit and move around. Down to fourth gear. Car's going to want to move around. It sucks, I know, but deal with it. First corner, like I said, it's tricky. You want to focus on carrying a lot of speed through its apex because it's just about carrying momentum, keeping it up through here. It's very tricky because there's not much margin for error, right? If you brake early and turn in early and hit the sausage curb, you are in trouble. You need to turn out something. We're having a bad day. This is a massive chonker of a curb. At the same time, if you're a bit late or you lock up, which trust me, I've done here before, and you miss the inside and you've got your tires out here, you're also having a bad day because you're definitely going to get an off track on the exit, maybe even a slowdown, and you're going to be out of position for the next. So it's pretty rough. So the most important thing here, be consistent on your braking, be consistent with where you're rotating the car. Try and always have the car somewhere between your right tires, either being on the curb or the white line, and at the widest here. To try and keep that car in that like one car width window every single lap. It's probably the best thing for past that, like I said, trying to carry speed, but it's very tricky to be tricky, very tricky corner. All right. The car's going to run wide here. This is legal. As long as you have your right tires on the red and white, it's all good. This is pretty much the limit here. So watch out. If you run a bit wider, easy getting off track. If you run really wide, so I think if you have all your tires on the green, you'll get a slowdown. I've definitely done that in the races before, so watch out for that. But yeah, right tires on the red and white, it's all good. Just be aware, look, the red and white actually gets narrower at this point, so don't be surprised if you start to have issues. And you can also see it gets taller. The edge of this curb here is actually taller, so you don't really want to hang around. So I let the car run out here, but I try and get back over as well, because it's a bit bouncy and a bit crap to be sitting on that curb. This apex, turn 2, is not a corner. It completely ignore this. Do not think about this any on that. Next corner, turn 3, tricky braking zone. You can shift up to 5th, but no point. You're in just hold limiter in 4th. It's going to be more consistent that way. Only give yourself 2 down changes to braking zone. Easy enough. All right. Braking just before this white line here, which is the 50-meter board, which is so far over to the left, you'll never ever be able to see it. But just use this reference. You're next to the curb at this point. Use this white line as a reference. Braking down to second gear. Try and be as straight for as long as possible before you rotate the car. Pretty hard braking zone, not very long. Come off the brake, rotate the car, get the car on the inside curb. Either white line or inside curbs, all good. Watch out, you can get a little bit of wheel spin initially sometimes on that curb, I find. But usually it's okay. Force the car out. It should be forced all the way to the left-hand side. In other cars like GTs or prototypes, you might think, oh, I've got to go tighter and prep air. This, because it has no power and doesn't weigh that much, easier to take this left-hander flat normally. You prepare, so it's better to push the hairpin as much. So please try and push the exit of this corner all the way out to this exit minimum. Try and get back as much as you can. Start turning it for the left-hander. This is flat out, okay? Unconditional, flat. Be smooth on the steering so you can see. I try and do most of the turning before you crest the hill. The reason for that is because you have more grip as you're leaning into the uphill, and as you go over the crest again, the front tires are going to kind of go. The track falls away from that point of view. So just try and do the rotating before you reach the crest, and then now come off the steering, and the car will settle nicely over the top. Run nicely on this curb. Very easy to get stuck on this curb and lose time if you've got your running over the edge of it or running too wide there. You'll still be okay in terms of off track and stuff. You just lose time. All right. So keep the car in a straight line. On the white line here, do not use the entry curve for braking. Very hard hit of the brake. This is a very tricky braking zone. You might have problems with rear locking down this hill. So sometimes in races, I've been going like one step further forward on the brake bias. Just for this corner. I feel like that's an issue. But I think most of the time in general, you just kind of have to deal with it. Braking reference for me, you see there's no boards on the right-hand side apart from this 50 board, which are going way past. I'm pretty sure this 50 board is for this corner, not for this one. You got the cones on the left. I actually use the bumps in the roads. There's quite pronounced bumps, okay? You can see here, the road's pretty flat. We have a little bit of a bump here. Okay, we go down. And then this next crest, you see this is kind of my reference for braking. We've got this next crest coming up now, and that's where I start to brake. Just the end of the green on the right-hand side is also a pretty good reference. Braking now, very hard. You see now we have this little bit of a crest. We might have to bleed out the brakes a little bit. Down to second gear. I find if you're late to turn in, you kind of miss the corner here. If you keep braking in a straight line, you just never make it back. Kind of camber it in towards you. I try and always brake towards this point, if that makes sense. Towards here somewhere where the rubber is. And then cut back inside. Really try and V this corner. That's the shape it's like. If you're getting it right, see V into it, brake into it, rotate the car. As soon as you get off the brake, you need to be on throttle. This is a corner where if you spend a long time waiting, the car's going to kind of get unsettled. It usually goes to a lazy slide. You lose a lot of time. So you need to be braking all the way in, straight away on throttle. And as soon as you can, get the lock off. As soon as you can. Very easy, I understand, to spin, lose the rear here. Get off the steering. You can see now, bang, come off the steering lock. The car can run out a bit. So as long as you have your left tires on the red and white curb, all good. Bring the car back over. It's just going to lose you time hanging over that curb. Shorten the distance. Get back over to the left-hand side of the track. Left. Prepare for the next double right that's coming up here. So left tires on this entry curb. Turn in, widest angle possible. Flat. Lift. If you're running a lot of wing, this should be flat. But for me, on low wing setups, which I think are fast around here, this is a lift. Keep the car in, but it should be flat pretty much on the entry and then lifting as you get towards this curb. Use the camber here, get the right tires in towards this entry curb, and then braking, let the car run out. You're trying to aim. It's very similar to the section, similar actually. We are trying to get the car to your right tires on the tarmac, and your left tires are over the curb. Very similar to turn 1. Basically, the car's not efficient when it brakes on the curb, but we still want to use the track width afforded to us by the track limit. So to maximize that, we want our left tires over the curb and our right tires inside that. Okay, if they're on the curb, lock up. So this is as wide as we can go while still having good braking. Cool. So as you can see here, very tricky. I kind of lift and I bleed into the brake because I can't actually get the car straight before I hit the brake. I'm braking just for the white line on the left-hand side. But you can't hit full pressure, not until you get it straight. You can hit a bit more pressure now, down to third gear. Again, as you go over this curb, you need to bled off the brake mostly, otherwise you'll lock up or lose the rear. Very easy to do. This corner is super tricky, by the way. Tricky. Off the brake now, on the throttle as soon as possible. Somewhere near this inside curb, doesn't have to be right on it, but it's more important just to be late and not have a big... You don't want to spend a lot of time waiting here, so it feels like I'm waiting, doing nothing, I've chilled on the brakes, or now I'm sitting on throttle, not doing much. That's the worst sign at this corner, that you need to probably brake a bit later or get on throttle a bit earlier. Carry more speed through the first right. All right, get to full throttle now. Let the car run out here. Again, you can use a lot of track here. Be very aggressive. As long as those right tires on red or white, again, all legal in terms of track limits. Don't need to run it to the right too much. Just reduce the distance. Bring the car over to the left. Important here for this next right-hander that we prepare it properly. So we're actually going to run fully off the track pretty much. You can see it's all legal, all good. Get the car straight for the braking zone, but with as much width as possible. That's why we ran over the curb there. As soon as the grass ended, we ran over the track to the left, came back to the right. Now we've got the car straight as we brake over the crest. Brake as soon as you land over this crest, because if you brake on the crest, you just lock up. There's no point. So that's our braking reference, is the crest. And we also got this white line as well. Best just judge it for where the track is. I've got the car pretty much pointing towards left of this marshal's hut here. So that's a pretty good reference. Braking in a straight line. We can brake harder now that we're not over the crest. It's still not that hard, just because we're turning. Car's unsettled. Down to third gear. As soon as I feel like I've slowed the car down enough, I drop the brake, stay inside the rubber a bit here, get on throttle, early throttle. As soon as you drop the brake, try and get that throttle on. Easy to get understeer here, I know, but that's just how it is. Get the car hooked on the inside curb, let it run out. You can run wider than this as well. I will say you can run so your right tires are like on the curb here. You don't have to use all of it every lap. I actually find a lot of laps where you run wide here, you kind of lose the rear and you slide. But it's definitely usable, especially in the races, following other cars or running side by side. Very more than likely you're going to have to. So no issues there. Again, reduce the distance, kick the car into the left, let it now run out to the right-hand side. Make sure you're straight before you hit peak pressure. Use the white line here for braking. Again, we have this white line as a reference. This is a 50-meter board. Look how serrated this curve is. You definitely do this curve at all for braking. It's horrendous. It really drags the car off. But this white line, very good reference here. So braking just before that. Very hard hit of the brake. Down the gears, down to second gear. Rotate the car. Get it turned in. As soon as you get off the brake, try and get some throttle on. The car's going to want to slide a bit. So just get some throttle on. Push it out, push it out, push it out. Let the car run out to the right-hand side. Bring it back to the left. And you should just be able to get it back to the left-hand side if you get it right. Yeah, so you're pushing the car so it gets towards the right-hand side of the track, but you can just about get the car over to the left nice and prepared. I don't use the curb too much for braking. It's not a great curb to be braking on that left-hand side curb. So just braking with your left tires on the white line pretty much. Soft brake here, soft brake. Braking reference for me is basically just where the grass ends on the left. Braking just there, soft. Now the track's dropping away from you. There's not much grip. You can't brake that hard. You can't carry that much speed. It is... I can't pronounce how important it is to be really smooth here, yeah? Be really smooth. So not that hard of a hit on the brake, but very smooth on the steering. Turn in nicely. Be patient, car, yeah? Track's falling away from here. So the car's like, I don't want to turn it. I've got no grip. So just be smooth. To be smooth, try and get to this inside curb. Kiss the inside curb. You gotta hook up a little bit on the entry there, just in that part of it. Once you do that, get on throttle. Car's gonna push away. You can run like a car width kind of away from where the rubber is here. Let the car run out. You can actually run wider than this. You can run out to the extra curve. If you get it right, maybe you can get in a bit earlier, use a bit more curve and run out. But watch out. Sometimes you can get on throttle very early here and it can feel like, oh, it's good. I'm flat really early. You use all the track on the outside, but you've covered so much distance and you kind of half sliding the whole time. And with this car, if you've got a lot of steering lock on when you're on throttle, you're not accelerating. So watch out for that you haven't got steering lock on for such a long period of time. So, but you can run wider than that. Okay, into the last corner now. Nice and easy to take flat. Not much going on. Just be smooth over that crest. Reduce the distance. Keep the car on the right-hand side. Let it run out to the left-hand side of the track onto the straight. And that is a lap at Portimao. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video so far. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And you can also find the Coach Dave Academy Discord in the video description. My name is Bart. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.